Now you don't want to over tighten the bolts or you could crack the china. The tank goes on next, and the main thing is getting this drain lined up with the hole that's in the bowl here. Now we line the holes in the bottom of the tank up with the holes in the ledge of the bowl. The holes are for the bolts that go down to anchor the tank to the bowl. Rubber washers make it watertight.
We secure the bolts with nuts from underneath, tightening with the pliers below and the screwdriver above.
I've just cut this chrome-plated copper pipe to serve as our supply tube for the toilet. Now this is flexible tube, and I've already bent it to fit into place. We use a ferrule and a nut on the cut end to secure it to the shutoff valve. Then we line up the washer on the other end of the supply tube and screw the compression nut under the tank. Finally, I tighten both nuts down. There. Now once the line is secured, you can turn the water back on and fill up the tank. There's not a whole lot of room in the master bathroom, so we're setting up the sinks and the whirlpool here in the bedroom. Besides, it's a lot easier to attach the faucet and the tailpieces before the units go in place. Now this sink is made out of vitreous china, and on this model we've got 3 openings, for the faucet and for the control handles. And the control handles are 8 inches apart. The valves in the faucet in this unit are connected by this flexible hose, and the water supply lines will connect in here. And this is how the stopper works.
Well, we'll show you how it all goes together as we work on our second sink here. It's a lot easier to do if we clamp it in position. Why don't you go ahead and tighten that down there. First, we secure the spout and the hot and cold water valves. Handles go over the adapters on each valve stem, and they're secured with screws. We connect the supply hoses to the spout through the T in the middle, and coupling nuts secure the hoses to the hot and cold valves. Now, installation varies between models, so be sure to follow instructions that come with your assembly.
The drain connects the sink with the trap and the drain pipe. And we put a ring of plumber's putty around it. Now I can just slip it through the opening.
And we use a slip nut and washer to secure the tail piece here to the drain from underneath. Like so. We put a gasket in the coupling for our drain stopper and put that on. And once it's secure, we'll line it with the back of the sink. And we'll tighten our slip nut in just a second. There we go.
The stopper lift arm slips through a hole in the top of the faucet, like that. And then the stopper itself can go down through the opening in the drain.
And then we hook up the stopper linkage. See if you hold that still there. And we just hand tighten this for the time being.
All right, now I'll pull the drain open so we can adjust the stopper arm. That looks good.
And tighten it down.
Works.
Perfect. These are self-rimming sinks, which mean they sit directly on top of the countertop.
They came with a template that helped us cut the openings to the right size.
Now we're ready to hook them both up to the plumbing. We'll start with the supply lines, which means hooking up the faucets to this flexible tubing with a 1/2-inch coupling to the faucet and a 1/4-inch coupling to the shutoff valve. Now it gets a little cramped in here, but it should go pretty quickly. We just screw down one end of each of the supply lines over the control valve like so. And we tighten it a bit. And screw the other over the opening on the shutoff valve. Alright. Now the next thing we want to do is hook this trap up to the bottom of the sink and this waste arm into the stub out in the wall. But first, we'll have to glue this adapter onto the stub out. The adapter will allow us to attach the waste arm with a compression nut. The waste arm goes on next, with the washer and nut screwing over the end of the adapter. Now I loosely attach the trap to the waste arm. And the tailpiece isn't quite long enough, so I'm extending it with a piece of ABS pipe. I work the pieces around to line them up, so, and then I tighten all the connections. And then turn on the lines and test them.
About done with that outlet?
Yep, I've got it.
Good. Attaching the sink here shouldn't be too tough.
Yep, we don't have any water pipes to sweat.
Oh, that's true. Just that plastic pipe to glue in.
Yep.
We've already put in the hot and the cold water pipes and the drain pipe underneath here. Now we need to finish the process by connecting all these stub-out pipes to the sink, disposal, and dishwasher. We're using a special type of shutoff valve for the hot water here. It's got two outlets. One's for the sink, one's for the dishwasher.
A double sink like this is pretty common in most kitchens. They come in a wide variety of styles and faucet choices. Now, it's a good idea to follow the directions on how to install these faucets pretty closely because they're all different. Luckily, the drain assemblies are pretty much standard. Put some plumber putty around like so. Jojo, could you help me lift up the sink here?
Sure.
Okay, let's get this up like so.
We put the strainer in, press it down a little.
Then we take this brass threaded ring with a couple of washers and screw that on like so. The drain for the garbage disposer has similar flanges, and these come with the disposer. Okay, let's get this thing in. All right, now we just set the sink in place, and the flange around the edge will support it on the countertop or on the opening.
Okay. Now I can use these soft copper tubes to make the connection from the faucets to the shutoff valves. The first pieces connect to the underside of the faucet and hang down. There. Now that those are secured, we can take these shorter lengths of pipe and attach them to the tops of the valves. Now the key here is to line up these pipes with one another. So we'll need to do some bending. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to make a mark at the bottom of the threads here. And that's where I'm going to make my cut. A nut and a ferrule goes on the cut end. And we're going to try to match them up. A couple of twists with the wrench, and that should do it.
Are you ready for me?
Yeah, supply lines are all set.
Okay, well, I'll hook this thing up. To mount the disposer, I push it up to the bottom of the drain. There's a ring that turns and attaches to the flange, like so. First, we secure the drain to the disposal unit, and we attach the tailpiece to the sink drain. Next, we extend the tailpiece with an ABS fitting, and we glue on a T to tie in the disposal, and we connect that with horizontal pipe. Finally, we extend the drain pipe out from the wall, and we complete the drain by installing the trap. And the last thing we want to do is tighten the disposal in its final position. Now, every drain is going to have a different configuration, so you'll have to experiment a little bit and use your ingenuity to get everything to fit just right.
And straight in should do it.
All right, here we go. Oh,
That's good.
perfect.
The last connection we'll make will be to hook up the dishwasher to the fittings underneath the sink. Now, with this unit, we needed to get it in place and get it all leveled and secured before we can make any connections.
There you go.
First, I feed this flexible drain hose through a hole in the side of the cabinet. You got this yet, Dean?
Yep, I've got it. I take the hose, put a hose clamp over the end of it, then I connect the hose to the end of the waste discharge. And using a screwdriver, I tighten down the hose clamp over the end of the waste discharge.
Now I take the other end of the hose, put a short piece of copper in it. I slip the adapter over it and tighten down the hose clamp. Now the adapter goes up and into the outlet on the side of the disposer. This way, the wastewater will go into the disposer and then into the drain system.
Now, to run hot water to the dishwasher, we run this 3/8" soft copper tube over to the threaded angle adapter.
The other end of the pipe goes into the second outlet of our hot water shutoff valve.